hell yeah, we can challenge for a league title.
What's up, Tifos? How's it going? Danny Brams here. On a victory Sunday, I'm drinking my wine, finishing up the Malbec that I started a few episodes ago, and having a good time. Welcome to the show. It's a winning edition, like we said, of Charlotte Soccer Show because the crown is back, baby. 2-0 win over New York City FC on Saturday at the Fortress. Match delayed about an hour and a half or so by lightning. Still got lit as hell in the stadium. Probably got even more lit than we would have. Great goals from Toklomati, goal-saving clearance from Adilson Malanda. Kerwin Vargas scored the winner. That's why we're repping Colombia. When we always like to throw the Colombia jersey on whenever Kerwin has a big game. And I'm here flying solo, having some fun. And I don't really know. I got some clips. I got some graphics made. We're going to talk about everything, but I need the commenters. This is YouTube situation where I need the commenters to lead me, to guide me. So thanks for the hundreds of you who are already logged on. Hopefully we can get this thing up to thousands by the time I finish this bottle. But we got a lot to talk about, and it's all good. So let's get into it. And let's talk some Charlotte soccer. I don't know what people thought, but I had a grand old time at the match. Great situation. Johnny's still on vacation, so he hooked up his seats for me and my buddy Kiefer. We were loving the 50-yard line view right behind the bench. It's always a great place to sit. You know, John and his wife are very smart for the tickets they've got. But we saw some great things, and so let's just get into it. Let's start with the early goal that really set the tone. It was beautiful. And it was all set up. This was what we're calling the team goal. This is calling this a team goal. This is the Toklomati team goal, if you will. And what a fit! What a great play! What a great move! What a great happening to get us off on the right foot. You see, it's only 15 minutes in, and you can see me probably sitting right there in the corner of the screen. They're checking offside here. What a great long forward pass from the back line. Toklomati, of course, he's onside. Now, this is amazing because watch, he actually starts this play. His run in behind starts this, right? Then he gives it to Wilf. And then Wilf gives it to Westy. And then Westy gives it back to Wilf. And by this time, Toklomati has gone all the way over to the other side of the box to receive the pass from Pep. I mean, how beautiful is that? Thing of beauty. Again, like we said, started by Idan, finished by Idan. And absolutely wonderful thing. Thanks to Kiefer, who has shown up. Best view in the house. Thanks to Johnny. What's up, Keef Dog? You know it. We're live. We had a good old time. Big hugs. I think I hugged Kiefer at least 3 times, if not more, when this goal went in because I really didn't know what else to do. What's up, John Orton? Welcome to the show. Great friend. Wish we were hanging out at Triple C getting some dogs adopted, my brother, but it's good to see you in the chat. Thank you for jumping in. Toklo, yes. It's Toklomati time. I mean, I said this before. I got to change. We got the intro that has the picture of Patrick. We got to take that picture of Patrick out and put in a picture of Idan. And it needs to be updated. Kiefer says Toklo constantly moving. Yeah, he just never stops moving from the minute that he makes that run in behind that gets the long ball pass. Thing of beauty, like I said, and it was wonderful to see. Let's listen in to what our good friend Dean Smith had to say about Toklomati's goal because he loved it. He loves having Toklomati on this team. I think we're all starting to learn to love having Toklomati on this team. And Dino does not miss a trick. Here's what he had to say.
A really good performance. He's selfless at times in terms of his running. He's got a really good mentality, good capacity to run in behind. I told him at half time I felt he came short a little bit too much. Let us find you the ball and, save some of that energy for later in the game. But his all-round game's getting better and better. And I love when centre forwards are getting on the end of crosses in the 6-yard box to get a goal. And he does that really well.
I mean, yet another thing that Dino and I have in common. It's like we were made to be brothers or something. I also love when center forwards get on the end of crosses in the 6-yard box and put them in the goal. It's a thing of beauty. It's so great to see. And I joked that the title of this episode, I might change it someday, but the title I started with is "We Almost Always Beat New York," because we have only had like one draw and one loss against New York City FC in our history, and then we've won every other match against them. And so it was great to get off to a good start. Always feels like New York City is a team that helps us sort of like find our identity and get going. And it was awesome. It was just a great vibe, and it really set the tone. Like I said, we'd been kind of lit up from the delay. It was kind of not our favorite thing. There were people that were yelling, start the match, but it was all worth it because they paid us off quickly. We didn't have to wait for it. I love the fact that this goal came in the 14th minute, didn't waste any time. And again, I called it a team goal, and it certainly was, but it was an assist from Pep Biel, and that cannot go unmentioned upon either, because as great as much as we praise Idan here and as much as we praise the full team, like Pep was in the pocket. Pep did the perfect thing like he usually does, and he's something else. And the take started flying on Twitter, and people were just blown away by Pep. And I pulled this one from our guy Caleb Adams, who used to officially write for the team. Now he just follows them kind of unofficially, but always has good things to say about the team. And I thought this was interesting. The Calvin Stengs deal falling through may have been the best thing to have happened to Charlotte FC, Caleb tweeted. This was after the match. Pep has 7 goals, 10 assists, 21 matches. Not only is he a magician, but he presses and works just as hard as any player on the pitch. The face of this team. So there's a lot, there's a lot here. There's a lot here. So how do we unpack this? The Calvin Stengs deal falling through may have been the best thing. Well, just first off, I would just say, hey, just say it is the best thing. This is my sort of advice to just people in general. And sometimes I need to follow it myself. I'm just as guilty at times. But when I see it, I try to bring it up because we're all trying to learn here. As media people, as commenters on sports, let's stop saying may have been, may be, might be, oh, it might be. Let's just say it. Say it with your full chest. Say it with your full chest. The Calvin Stengs deal falling through was the best thing that ever happened to Charlotte FC, because it did get us Pep Biel, who is dominating, who is a magician, who presses and works just as hard as every player on the pitch. Now, is he the face of this team? I don't know. I thought Patrick Ajimong was the face of this team, so that's maybe not a role you want. I still think probably Westwood, locally is the face of the team, and I think Wilf Zaha is sort of if you think about the wider picture, the global soccer audience, the Zaha's probably the face of the team. So I don't know if Pep's the face of the team, but I get what Caleb's saying here, and I get what he's saying about the Stengs deal falling through, because you can't prove a counterfactual. You can't say, well, we don't know what Stengs would have done if he had come here, so who knows? But as a friend of mine pointed out in the chat room earlier today, as we were talking about this tweet, in fact, Stengs hasn't really been lighting it up over in Holland, since he failed the medical to come over here. So I don't know. Pep Biel wasn't lighting it up, where he was playing before he came over. So who knows what Stengs might have done in MLS? I'm not sure, but we're quite happy with Pep Biel. That's for damn sure. I don't think anyone is second guessing that whatsoever. We love Pep. We love Idan. We love Wilf. We love Westwood. Everyone who factored in on the goal. These are our guys. When those guys are clicking and Bronico's running around in the middle of it all, hey, that's a good thing for Charlotte FC. That's really what it's all about. And it gave the team a lot of confidence, I felt like, And so I do feel like we needed the early goal to get to sort of set the tone. And I think that's important. And Kiefer checks in, says, I believe Stengs got hurt again after he failed the physical. Yeah, I think he hurt his other leg, right? He has failed the physical because of his right leg, and then he hurt his left leg, I think, something like that. But again, we're not worried about Calvin Stengs. I get it. I like, it's very nice little sort of, you do have to call back to that kind of stuff. But I promise you, I had not thought of the name Calvin Stengs for about a year until I saw that tweet. So, but it is nice to go back and look, and we do love Pep. So early lead, things are good. We're loving life. And then all of a sudden we're put pretty heavily under the cosh. We kind of shut down. And the one thing Dean had said, leading into this game and his pregame comments was he was saying things like, we've got to stop the mistakes. We got to stop the mistakes. We got to stop the mistakes. We got to stop the mistakes. And then once we're done doing all that, we got to stop the mistakes. So you're thinking, hey, well, Charlotte FC won 2-0, right? They must have stopped the mistakes. Not so fast, my friend. Unfortunately, there was a lot of mistakes, and there was a critical mistake that we'll take a look at a few times here. And this was an ugly one, obviously. And thank God for Adilson Malanda, who returned to form, saved the match with that header off the line right there. A big Kahlina mistake. They're going to see another look at it here. And he's just, again, when playing it out of the back goes wrong, this could have got us a viral moment online for sure if that had not been stopped. It did go wrong. That's really just a bad move by Kahlina trying to whiz that thing in. I saw it when I was viewing it from kind of this angle. I was like watching that way when I saw it, and I'm like, what is he doing? And he's like, he's trying to pass it to Westwood. Like, bro, there's a guy there. Like, Westwood is marked, sir. I'm not sure what you're thinking, but thank God for Adi Malanda on that one. Please, I think I immediately, as soon as this happened, I tweeted out, selling Malanda this year would be a clown move, and I do think that. They probably I don't think they're asking me for my advice, and they don't care if I think they're clowns. They'll sell him this year if the price is right, but. As John Orton says, Malanda's money. Kiefer checks back in. Thank you guys. Thanks, John and Kiefer, for commenting here, because again, I'm flying solo on this beast, and I don't really know what the hell I'm doing. I sometimes I'm just like, I don't even know what to say next, but the comments keep me going. So thank you for that. And he says, I understand that's how the game is today. I don't understand why we're so adamant of playing out of the back with Kahlina, not his strong suit at all. I agree. I said this to you, Kiefer, verbally. I said that multiple times. I said, God, Kahlina, just kick it deep. Just kick it deep. There's so many times. Good things happen when Kahlina kicks it deep, and bad things happen when he tries to do this. So I'm in the let's quit playing out of the back and let's just kick long balls every match situation. I know Dean likes to change the tactics based on the opponent, and he had them doing this probably because he thought that this was something that we could do, and we could take advantage of their pressure maybe to sort of quick counterattack. But you can't do it like that. There was many other sort of like dicey passes and things like that. And so we once again go to the commentary of our friend Caleb Adams. And maybe I should have invited Caleb on the show. So sorry about that, Caleb. But I got your takes in at least. And come on the show some other time. You're always welcome. He tweeted this like right after that play happened, essentially, which is, it's time to start a search for a new starting goalkeeper for Charlotte FC. Too many inconsistencies from Kahlina and Bingham this season. Even Bingham's catching strays on the bench. So, I think he's saying that to say it's not just about this one play, right? But those of us who have been following the team since 22 also know Kahlina has been a mistake-prone keeper, and that last season was the exception, not the rule with KK. That's valid too. I think he always has been mistake prone. I agree. But I think he's making more mistakes now than he did in 22 and 23. You tell me. Obviously 24 goalkeeper of the year, and he made a lot of saves. I think our system set him up to do that in many ways, and we're still playing that same system. But the problem is he's just making more mistakes, and so. I feel he's obviously regressed from 24. I didn't think he was that bad in 22 and 23, but I didn't think he was, the greatest ever. But I've always been a pro Kahlina guy as a Charlotte FC fan. And I think that, when you say the time to start searching for a new start. It's time to start a search for a new starting goalkeeper. So he's not saying take Kahlina out. He's not saying bench Kahlina right now, but he's just saying like Kalina's not it for maybe 2026 and beyond. Although Kahlina did have his contract renewed. I think he's here through 27 if I remember the contract details. Someone will have to check me on that one because on the Charlotte Soccer Show we always get at least one fact wrong. It's just the fun is finding out which one. But I think he's through 27. Forgive me if that's my wrong fact of the night. Hopefully the only one. But yeah, like Kahlina, I've always confident with Kahlina. I think he commands the box really well. Something is going on with him. I saw in the responses to Caleb's tweet, there were people like, oh, yeah, he got hit in the face in Columbus and by Diego Rossi shot, and he's never been the same. You know, I think that's open to interpretation. There's a lot going on, obviously, with the new baby, and, you know, going from one kid to two is tough. Probably going from 0 to 1 is tougher than 1 to 2. I think, but I only have one child. I don't know what it's like to go from 1 to 2. So I can't tell you. It was definitely tough going from 0 to 1, though. I can definitely tell you that. But we survived. I do think, as Dean often says about the road trips, whenever people are like, oh, these road trips are so tough, Dean, you know, he's like, you're flying first class. You're eating the best food in the world. Like, get over it. Like, I do think that Kahlina is set up pretty well to have a support system around him to be able to handle the intense strain of a new baby. But what can you do? Thank you, Kiefer, for checking me here through 2026 with the option for 27. See, I knew I was half right, 27, 26. With the option, I was right. So thank you for looking that up. The commenters just carrying us yet again. I see so many people watching the stream and lurking. Let's get some comments, please. And you might as well click like on this on the video as well while you're there, if you don't mind, and then send it to a friend. We'll get all kinds of people talking about this crazy club that we love. But yeah, Kahlina seemed to know a little bit about that he made a mistake. Kahlina did speak after the game. Here's what Kristijan had to say about that play, and like. This is like so goalkeeper. Just listen to this.
Yeah, I get the ball. I saw Pep, but I missed the pass. I want to kick a strong ball on the floor. A little bit risky ball. They get the ball, play immediately forward. I recognize that they don't expect me to jump immediately over on them on 15 meters, and then I think I just push them on the side where I gave time to my defenders to back on the line. Adi saved first ball, and then I back on the goal, and I saved the second one.
Okay, so very matter-of-factly said, and it's like, yeah, I love how he's just like, yeah, I tried to make the pass, and they were then all of a sudden they were there, and it was a risky pass. Did he say he's trying to play it to Pep there? By the way, I didn't notice that the first time I listened to that soundbite. He just said he's trying to play it to Pep. Pep BL is on the far, left of the screen here. If he's trying to get that ball to Pep on the ground, I thought it was just a missed pass to Westwood. If that was a pass to Pep, that was really bad. But what can I say? Len Kornacki in the chat. What's up, Len? How you doing, bro? Could it be the problem with playing down the back partly be because neither Ashley Westwood or Brant Bronico are capable of progressing the ball? They seem to be best clogging lanes when out of possession. I think there's some truth to that for sure. I totally agree, Len. We never look comfortable playing out of the back. I'm not here to tell Dean Smith how to conduct strategy and tactics on this team. He can have his guys play out of the back if they want. I'm here to tell you, as a fan who watches every match, we don't look comfortable playing out of the back. So, obviously, getting uncomfortable in life is where the growth comes from. You got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. But I don't like being uncomfortable as a soccer fan. I like to be very comfortable and feel like my team is in very good control. That's what we like. That's what we want to see. So Dean had some extended comments. I'm going to play a rip of three different sound bites here from Dean Smith as he talked about just sort of the mistakes, the ability how things were different this time, despite making the same mistakes that we were making the whole time, but what changed and what it's like to be playing under pressure for these guys and to have to absorb so much pressure as we allowed NYC to have in our own building.
Yeah, I mean, you're just hoping that it's not one of them ones where we make a big mistake and they scored again, because a lot of the goals, and I've said in the run of away games, a lot of the games have been really tight, and some we should have won, and we've given goals away like that. But the lads helped him out. That's what teamwork and teammates is about. If somebody makes a mistake, be there to help them out. And I thought, although we made too many unforced errors, we actually did help our teammates out tonight. Oh yeah, probably stops me heart a little bit, yeah. But I'm just like, come on, I know how good these players are. and we've all seen what they can do. So, you know, when you see, you know, an unforced error like you see, it takes you back a little bit. But, you know, listen, the result was massive for us tonight. We needed to get that win to close that gap between us and New York City and start looking, you know, upwards. Yeah, we did, and you know, that's an important thing to have, that resilience to defend the penalty box, make it difficult for them to score. You know, they've had a couple of shots to where the flash past the post, you know, where Cali didn't move too much and you're a little bit worried from the side. But I think the majority of them shots are outside the box. You know, the ones that we gave away in the first half were the bigger chances, to be honest. You know, but we know we can get miles better than tonight, and tonight was about getting over the line and getting 3 points.
We know we can get miles better than tonight. Completely agree. It's nice to get a 2-0 win when you don't play your best, and I think that was good. I think the finish on the first goal was insane. We're about to watch another insane goal from Kerwin Vargas. We got Christopher Madeira in the chat. What's up, Christopher? Sup to you, man. Thanks for saying sup. Much appreciated. Always appreciated. Good to see you here, watching along and hopefully enjoying it. I would assume the millions of you that are streaming this live right now would not be here if you weren't enjoying it. So, yeah, it's just a thing where we didn't quite achieve the goal of eliminating mistakes. I do think we minimized the mistakes, and like Dino said, even though the mistakes happened, they were able. The reaction to them was better. Which, you know, hey, I'll drink to that. Who amongst us would not, right? I do love a Malbec. I do love a spicy red. Nice, dry, crisp Argentinian Malbec. What a treat. This is actually a product of France, but I like my Malbecs Argentinian, not going to lie. And I like my goal scorers Colombian. How about that for a segue? Kerwin Vargas, just absolutely what a goal. What can you say about this guy, right? Whoops. There we go. Yeah. Here's Kerwin's goal. Great pass. You know, ruins the Westwood assist by not scoring on the first one, but does have a finishes with aplomb on the second attempt. And then I love the run to the throne. The run up. This is just pure. You can't do this in any other Major League Soccer stadium. This is pure Charlotte FC right here, going up, celebrating with the fans, with the Blue Furia at the throne, who did an amazing. We'll talk about them more in a second because they did an amazing job as well, pregame and during game. They always do. We love the Blue Fury here. They're some of our favorite people in the fan base. But I love that little doink. This is great on the Kerwin replay. Like, this is so great. Like, they talk about adding insult to injury. This is hopefully not injury. We never wish injured people, but Kerwin just doinks that guy right on the side of the head, and then it kicks right back to him, and then he puts an injury in Matt Freeze's net. So not bad at all from Kerwin Vargas. He is a special player. Protect Kerwin Vargas at all costs, and went through a bit of a slump, but now that Liel Abada is slumping, it's good to have Kerwin back. You know, when Kerwin was slumping, you know, Abada was finding form, and now that Abada's in a little bit of a bad run of form, you know, Kerwin's there. As Kiefer says, very glad the NYCFC player got in the way because the first shot was going into Rosie, into the corner. Rosie. The first shot was not good. So, yes, we did get a little lucky there. But the second effort is real nice. And, again, we're living. It might be that guy's shoulder. We're still living. I don't want people getting hit in the head anyway. We saw Kahlina having Kahlina, right? And so not trying to hurt people. So we're going to say hit him on the shoulder. But it definitely was a doink. And Kerwin, great backflip. We do deserve the luck anyway. It's about time some luck went our way. And, yeah, Kerwin Vargas, you know, what can you say? A thunderbolt on a night where thunderstorms really threatened to ruin the fun, despite an hour and a half delay that really sucked, although we made the most of it. It was late. What I really felt bad for was the unified team that was playing after. And it was like, I was hoping to stick around and watch the unified team play, and a lot of people were, but I was just absolutely cooked by the end of the night. I couldn't do it, unfortunately. And then Len Cornacchia. What I love about Len Cornacchia, great guy. I love hanging out with him, love cheersing him up and having a beer with him, have met his family. He's been our correspondent on the show from Yankee Stadium, right? So Len's deep in the DNA of Charlotte Soccer Show as a contributor and a TIFO, but he's very smart here. Kerwin provides a better defensive and physical presence than Abada also, and that is you have literally just anticipated where we're going next, Glenn, because that is exactly what Dino said, and that's exactly what Kerwin had to say. So we're going to hear from Kerwin. We're going to hear from Dino here in a second, and then we'll respond to that. And then I got a little soundbite from Kerwin en Espanol for the multilingual audience that I can't wait to play as well. Here is what Dino had to say about Kerwin.
I thought, it's a great goal and a great finish, but it's the other side of the game that I think you can overlook sometimes. Defensively, I thought he was excellent. We put Bill in at right back today. I wanted Nick coming off the bench. I think we blow up a little bit too easy as a team sometimes in terms of we get gassed, and it was better to have Nick coming on. So we put Bill there. And we know that Wolf is one of their better players, so we wanted to double up on him a little bit. And I thought Kerwin did that really, really well today. He looks like he's got his confidence back, and he looks like he's playing with some belief, which is really good to see.
Oh, it's really good to see, Dino. It's really good to see. We love seeing it. And Kerwin himself, he spoke about the confidence he's gotten by having Dean sort of shout him out for that defense and send him that message. Here you go.
Sí, claro, creo que el fútbol es muy simple, ¿no? Se gana, se pierde, se empata. Y bueno, estábamos en una racha mala y claro, volver a casa siempre es importante y qué bueno que hoy se dio la victoria. Sí, bueno, creo que he hablado mucho con él y me ha aconsejado mucho en esa parte. Y bueno, se vio reflejado hoy y en los otros partidos también anteriores, y creo que siempre me preocupo mucho por defender ahora más que todo, y más cuando tenemos un resultado 1-0, trato de no salir mucho y bueno, se vio eso ahí.
What an amazing comment from Kerwin there to say, under the way he's developed his game under Dean Smith, he said, I only think about defense now. I go out there, I'm lined up in an attacking position, but he grew up his whole life, right? Like everything Kerwin's done has been about scoring goals and learning to play attacking soccer. But under Dean Smith, he says, I just focus on my defense now, and that seems to work out, and it's made us better. Really, really cool to see, and it's very it's sort of like a sliding doors moment of like the Kerwin Vargas's career could have gone many different ways, but it's going down this path of him being a defensive-minded attacker thanks to his association with Dean Smith, which, Kiefer K-Dog 1903 says, I do not like my right winger playing second right back, though. I kind of get it. I mean, it was happening right in front of us, right? We were watching it, and it was constantly like Pep was the right wing, even though he was nominally the 10. And then Kerwin was playing like behind and inside, almost like a midfielder almost, or a wing back at times. It was kind of weird in formation a little bit, but it all worked out because everyone was hustling, trying hard, doing the best they could, picking each other up when they had the mistakes, and moving without the ball like Toklomati. Things were good, and things can get better. As Dean said, we can play miles better than tonight, and Kristijan Kahlina echoed those comments as well himself.
I'm not satisfied with how we played. Honestly, I think if they were a little bit more calmer and they score one goal, we will have big trouble again, like it happened against Orlando. It's our home. We need to find a way to play here and to be more active, more in possession, more dangerous, and against those teams that they feel that this is Bank of America, this is our stadium. In this point, yes, we're in like some struggle moment, but I hope this game will give us confidence to come again Wednesday here and to win again with clean sheet and to go further, to go into playoffs.
Yeah, so Kahlina says if they would, he's worried because if they would have scored one goal like Orlando did, they might have scored two to get back to it. Yeah, Kahlina, if they had scored one goal, that would have been your fault, buddy, because you were the one who passed the ball right to their player in order to create a counterattack. But you did, we did manage to save it. You did make yourself big, as they say, and give Addy time to get back there and clear it. Good for Addy. Len Cornacchia is loving Kahlina's candid comments, and I am too, because and even Kahlina, even Dean, as fans, I think last night I walked away feeling triumphant, right? I just felt like amazing. And as players and coaches, though, they kind of felt like, hey, that was it's good to get the result. It's good to get the 3 points, but we didn't necessarily play our best. So I think it's good that they recognize that and they're saying that, and that they're not resting on their laurels, as they say, and whatnot, and that's good. And so here we are. Let's look at the old table, because that's pretty cool, right? To see ourselves in the playoff spot, but everyone behind us has a game in hand. So, but everyone behind us is in really bad form. So there's a lot of red for losses in a row, but for Chicago, New England, Atlanta. So even though they have those games in hand, they'll probably lose them, right? In theory, hopefully, pray to God. We play DC, who has not won a match in months, it seems like. And hey, what's up, Jorge Torres? Welcome in. You just met, dude. We needed you. I needed your commentary on the translation of Kerwin's comments on the. I didn't know if my subtitle translating was good or not, but you'll have to look back and listen and go back on, click back on the stream and comment on that one. But as we look at this table, you know, we play. If you look on the right side of the screen there, DC United, Atlanta, Toronto. Those are, you know, look. This is a rated R podcast, so I'm just going to come out and say those are shit teams. These are shit teams that we play in the next 3 matches, and 2 of them are at home. If we can't get 9 points out of this to give ourselves 13 from 5, starting with the Orlando match, then I'm going to be pretty disappointed. 13 from 5 would be pretty nice. People were hoping to get 12, right? So this is 3 matches that all have to be wins against DC, Atlanta, Toronto. And then we play Leagues Cup. And then it's kind of a reset. Nathan Burns should be back for the Leagues Cup. Maybe not the Juarez game, but hopefully the Chivas or Monterrey matches. So he's going to be back. And then, you know, on the other side of Leagues Cup, depending how far we go in that, then we got another tough match against Cincinnati up at the top of the standing. So we're going to we need to win everything. We need to beat the teams below us, and then we need to make up ground on the teams above us by beating them. So, and who knows what Leagues Cup is going to bring, because it could it spurred us onto the playoffs in 2023, and it was kind of an afterthought in 2024. So I don't really love that we seem to always be battling it out for these last few playoff spots with New York City and New York Red Bulls. It's like Charlotte versus New York. It's like, it reminds me, if you will, and you know, everyone is welcome in our city, but battling it out with those New York and NYC and Red Bull clubs always makes me think of all the freaking New York transplants that are down here cheering for the Buffalo Bills every damn week at Bank of America Stadium, when they should be cheering for the Panthers. I think, right? I think the Panthers is the name of our NFL team. I always forget. But yeah, really good stuff to at least get a W. I got a couple other things I want to comment on, and I'm really grateful to all the people who've been watching along and commenting yourselves. Y'all make it happen for the whole damn community. This was the TIFO of the year. Shout out to the Blue Fury. I teased earlier that I was had more to say about them, and that they're the supporter group. There's multiple supporters groups in the Charlotte FC land, obviously, but the Blue Fury is the one who really spearheaded the production of this insanely awesome TIFO. You know, the New York references with the apple and the statue, the Torch of Liberty there, and just, you know, an insanely stylish and wonderful looking queen there. We absolutely love what she how this set the tone. TIFO of the year. Shout out, congrats to everyone who worked on it. Len Kornakia, of course that's your photo, bro. Of course that was your photo. I loved this photo. I had to use it. You know, I only steal from the best, my brother, but hopefully that's all right. We're not making any money off this. So if we do, I'll kick you back some, though, for sure. Great photo, great TIFO, awesome stuff. Really cool to see. Another couple things I wanted to touch on, and the first is just a short moment. The other one's going to be kind of long, so stick with me. But this was Brant Bronico. That was your photo, Len, but this is my video of Brant Bronico pitch. And I love this. I absolutely love this because he walked the long way all around, gave so much love to all the fans in every section, high-fiving every coach and administrator and staffer on the benches before he went to sit down and chill out for himself. He was subbed off late in the match where it was 2-0, and it was good times. It was good feeling, and it was just it's like a job well done from Brant. He didn't really factor too much statistically, but I thought he was really good out there pressing. And in a situation where we were facing tons and tons of pressure and like lots of shots. I mean, New York had lots of chances. They weren't good chances, but they did have chances. Bronico did work. He did a lot of work that was not necessarily reflected on the stat sheet. John Orton has a great comment here. He says, Zaha meltdown. Are you saying I should need to comment on a Zaha meltdown, or are you asking, did Zaha have a meltdown? I didn't see a meltdown from Zaha. I thought he did some really nice stuff on the Toklomati goal. I don't think it was his most influential game. It was probably maybe one of the worst Will Zaha games he's played in a Charlotte shirt, but I didn't think it was horrible. I didn't see him melt down. He did sub kind of earlier than normal. He subbed in like the 70, 75-minute range, I believe. And I think Dino was asked about that and said, why'd you sub Zaha early when he didn't have a yellow or anything? And Dean said it was just because there was a need to defend. He just felt like, look, it's obvious that we're not going to go score any more goals. We need defense right now. So I believe he just subbed him out to get to change the tactics and just to shut it down and to park the bus and try to close out. And he said it was tired legs. And again, we have another match on Wednesday. John, we need to know more about this. I had not heard anything about a Zaha meltdown, so I will look into that. I didn't see anything out on the pitch, but I'm not going to lie. I'd had a few pops yesterday. So you never know. Certainly could have missed something. If Zaha did melt down, wouldn't make much sense because, again, the Crown played really well. And he was influential in the first creation of the first goal. So he really would have nothing to be upset about. He did catch a couple bad fouls. There were a couple times where he was fouled hard like he always is. So we'll see. But the last thing I want to show, and this is just as we wrap this up, and so grateful to everyone for being here. This is another thing I did where when there was about 3 minutes left in stoppage time, I just went down, and this was Dean is so mad there. He should be. I forgot to mention the penalty that there should have been also, by the way. There definitely was like a bullshit moment where Diani was dragged down in the box and should have had a penalty. And I don't know why that wasn't called. Thankfully, it didn't matter. That was Dean didn't even mention it in the press conference, which is crazy. But love that guy right there. Good jumbotron work. But I just took this video because we had been so famous for losing in stoppage time, right? And even though we were up 2-0 here, and so there was no real danger of losing, we could have. We've given up 2 goals in stoppage time before, right? So in theory, we could have. We weren't necessarily safe here. And I just wanted to sort of just get the vibe of how everything was working, right? And just sort of see Dino coaching the guys in this moment where it's like, what do these guys need to do? And some nice time wasting from Kahlina there. Nice deep ball. Kerwin, unfortunately, is never going to quite get to that one. But again, these guys are getting chances against it. That's a great play by Malanda in the 93rd, 94th minute right there to make it happen. Jorge says Zaha was showing major frustration on the bench when he got subbed. Yeah, well, don't get tired then, bro. I mean, we got another game on Wednesday. Chill, Wilf. It's okay. We won the match, bro. Don't worry about it. And you had a secondary assist. I think maybe we need to tell Wilf that Zaha, that MLS gives credit for secondary assists, and then he'll be, oh, I got an assist. Maybe I don't need to freak out so much. I got on the score sheet. But sick little back kick by Kerwin there. Just to get it away. Just kick it as far away as you can from our goal, guys, please. I wish they would have done this in Philadelphia. I wish they would have done this in KC. How about this? This is why we do this live, folks. Doc Ekis in the chat says, I just ran into Malanda at Target and gave him a high five. Damn right you did. I also heard reports that Malanda was chilling at Optimist Hall eating dinner tonight. So yeah, just Malanda's having a great night. Malanda's having a nice little Sunday. I don't know if there's enough time. You got to Target, got to Optimus Hall. Don't know if there's enough time for the Home Depot for a nice little Sunday for Addy Malanda, but good for him for getting out and high-fiving folks in the community. That's really cool. And we're just at one point, I think I yelled here. I was like, blow the whistle, ref. I was like Too Short said, blow the whistle. And these guys were this guy's just talking about Too Short. That's my favorite Too Short song, man. What can I say? But yeah, I think this is pretty much the end of it here. But yeah, there's nothing exciting really in this clip. This is just something I put in there because I wanted to I want to just sort of watch how Charlotte closed out a match since they had not been able to do that recently. So good for them. Good for all of y'all. Good for Adilson Malanda. Maybe Adilson Malanda is the man of the match. I know Kerwin got it and probably should have. His goal was extremely important when it happened because we were nervous. So I have no problem with Kerwin winning man of the match. But without Adilson Malanda, maybe we don't win it either. So good problem to have is all I can say. It's the Charlotte Soccer Show. We've been talking for about 40 minutes here, and the crown is so back, baby. So I'm really grateful to all who took the time to watch, comment, to lurk, to say hi, to say now it's time to say goodbye. But hell to the yeah. I will be there on Wednesday. Can't wait to go beat the ever-living stuffing, we'll say, for the kiddos in the audience out of DC United on Wednesday. I get off work at 7. I'm going to be flying up 77 from Ballantyne. So if anyone can get me a police escort or a helicopter or a teleportation device, I will take all of that. That'd be great because trying to get up there, we're going to have a good time. We'll be back in the normal seats in the supporter section, probably in the 200s. I hope that doesn't offend anyone. I have to come clean. I do sit in the 200s of the supporter section. I know that there's some people that have a real big problem with that, but I'm going to be there. Charlotte FC is so back. And as always, it's for the crown, baby.